Welcome to Level 1, Lesson 4 of Saifi's Urban Arabic. Before we get going, please sit in a comfortable position. Put your hands loosely on your knees or upper legs. Close your eyes and breathe in and out slowly 5 times. With each breath, go slower and deeper into relaxation. Please go ahead. Okay, if you've not yet finished, please complete your current breath cycle in the next few seconds. Ready to start today's lesson? Today we will get cracking with verbs. You'll start piecing together more and more complex sentences in Arabic. Before we do that, however, let's have a quick look at the material we presented to you yesterday.
هلأ اسمع الحوار.
ألو؟ كيفك يا جميل؟ شو في ما فيه؟
كتير منيح ديالا الحمد لله.
شو رأيك بحفلة امبارح؟
حلوة كتير حلوة.
ليك؟ شو اسمه هيدا صديق ريما؟
مين هيدا صديق ندى؟
لا صديق ريما.
اسمه مصطفى يا ديالا وشغله حد بيتك.
عن جد؟ شو حلو.
وينك هلأ؟
ببيتي. يلا بدك شي؟
لا باي حبيبتي.
Hopefully you understood the conversation rather well, or even 100%. Wonderful! Let's get started with today's lesson, Lesson 4. Before we move to the verbs, let's go through the names of a few professions in Arabic, so we can later combine this with some verbs. Imagine somebody asks you whether you're a teacher. Supposing you're a male teacher, the word would be
أستاذ.
Go ahead and say, are you a teacher?
أنت أستاذ؟ أنت أستاذ؟
Now imagine it was a lady asking you this, and you want to ask her the same thing. Go ahead, ask her in return whether she is a teacher. The word for female teacher is
معلمة. معلمة.
So,
تفضل.
now say, and you? Are you a teacher?
وانتي شو معلمة؟ وانتي شو معلمة؟
To this she answers she's not a teacher, but a doctor. The word for female doctor, well, try to guess it. It's more or less the same as in English, but with an a at the end. So go ahead, try to say, no, I'm not a teacher, I'm a doctor.
لا أنا مش معلمة بس دكتورة. لا أنا مش معلمة بس دكتورة.
Let's take a similar short exchange. Imagine asking a young man you've just met whether or not he's a student. Try it, using the same construction as before.
أنت طالب؟ أنت طالب؟
To this he answers, no, I'm not a student, I'm a writer. The word for writer is
كاتب. كاتب.
Okay,
تفضل.
go for it.
لا أنا مش طالب أنا كاتب. لا أنا مش طالب أنا كاتب.
Let's imagine you're a woman, and the young man continues the conversation by saying, and you, are you a writer? Of course, he will use the word for female writer.
وانتي شو كاتبة؟ وانتي شو كاتبة؟
To this you reply, of course I'm not a writer, I'm a student. The word for of course is
أكيد أكيد.
okay.
هلأ أعطيني الجملة بالعربي.
أكيد أنا مش كاتبة، أنا طالبة. أكيد أنا مش كاتبة، أنا طالبة.
Let's try one last set of professions. Now, instead of you, female, and you, male, we'll use she and he. You're at the Security General to renew your visa. Let's imagine you're looking for the manager or president, but you don't know whether it's a man or a woman. Pointing towards a woman in the distance, you ask the soldier at the entrance, is she the manager or president? Manager, in its female form, is
مديرة مديرة.
whilst president, in its female form, is
رئيسة رئيسة.
Remember to use the definite article, as we're actually saying the manager and the president. So say, is she the manager or president?
هي المديرة أو الرئيسة؟ هي المديرة أو الرئيسة؟ هي المديرة أو الرئيسة؟
The soldier replies, no, he is the president.
لا هو المدير. لا هو المدير.
You didn't hear him very well, so you say, is he the manager?
تفضل.
Ask the soldier.
هو الرئيس؟ هو الرئيس؟
The soldier replies that he's actually the manager, as there is no president. The word for there is
في.
so when we want to negate that, we say
ما في. ما في.
okay.
هلأ
Say no, he's the manager. There is no president.
لا هو المدير. ما في رئيس. لا هو المدير. ما في رئيس. لا هو المدير. ما في رئيس.
Alright, it's time for verbs. Let's start with the verb
اشتغل.
to work.
غل. غل. اشتغل.
Let's start with I work at the Phoenicia Hotel, which is a famous hotel in Beirut. You would say
بشتغل بأوتيل فينيسيا.
تفضل.
repeat it.
بشتغل بأوتيل فينيسيا. بشتغل بأوتيل فينيسيا. بشتغل بأوتيل فينيسيا.
Let's suppose you think your friend Jamil works at the Phoenicia Hotel. How would you ask him that?
جميل، أنت بتشتغل بأوتيل فينيسيا؟
Did you hear the difference between I work and you work masculine? I work,
بشتغل.
you work masculine.
بتشتغل.
Again, I work, you work.
بشتغل.
بتشتغل.
بشتغل.
بتشتغل.
The verb is not so easy to pronounce, right? Don't worry. not every verb is as tough as this one. We'll now focus on the verb,
تعلم.
which means to learn.
لم. تعلم. تعلم.
Let's pretend you're asking your friend Bahia whether she works or studies. For females, you add the
إيه.
at the end of the verb. So, knowing that you work for a man is,
تشتغل.
how would you say that for females?
تشتغلي تشتغلي.
Now apply the same trick to,
تعلم.
so add
بت.
at the beginning to make it into the you form, and
إيه.
at the end for the feminine ending. Yes, unlike many European languages, verbs in Arabic change before and after the root of the verb in the present tense. Now, be extra careful with this one, because there is already a t sound at the beginning, so you need to add another one. Alright, try to say you study to a woman.
تتعلمي تتعلمي.
The lady replies to you by saying, of course I don't work, I study.
أكيد ما بشتغل. أنا بتعلم. أكيد ما بشتغل. أنا بتعلم. أكيد ما بشتغل. أنا بتعلم.
In yesterday's lesson, we looked at the verbs to want and to have. We'll now look at to want again, but as a pseudo or auxiliary verb, better known as helping verb. For example, I want to work has both the verbs to want and the verb to work would be
بدي اشتغل.
Remember the root of the verb to want? It's
بد.
Let's repeat a couple of things before moving on to using
بد.
as pseudo or auxiliary verb as a little warm-up. So, for example, if you want to buy a pen, you could say, I want a pen.
بدي قلم. بدي قلم.
Or, more correctly, you could say, I want this pen.
بدي هيدا القلم. بدي هيدا القلم.
Okay,
هلأ.
ask your female friend whether she wants water. The word for water is
مي. بدك مي؟ بدك مي؟
Now ask your male friend whether he wants juice.
بدك عصير؟ بدك عصير؟
يلا هلا.
We'll combine the helping verb with another verb. This will enable you to say things like, I want to learn Arabic, or I want to work as a doctor. When you combine a helping verb with a verb, the main verb loses its first letter. Only in the first person singular form, for I, do you add a short I, a, or o sound, depending on the following consonant. For example, we say I work,
بشتغل.
but in order to say I want to work, we say
بدي اشتغل. بدي اشتغل.
Do you remember how to say you work to a man?
بتشتغل؟ بتشتغل؟
Now, if you know how to say you want to work to a male person, you just need to drop the first letter in the verb declination. How would that sound?
بدك تشتغل؟ 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 بدك تشتغل؟
How would you address a female person with the same question? Remember to change both the pseudo verb and the main verb.
بدك تشتغلي 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 بدك تشتغلي.
Let's take another verb with the same pronouns. Me, you feminine, and you masculine. We'll now take the verb to learn.
تعلم
For example, we say I learn.
بتعلم.
Thinking of the previous examples we used, how do you think you would say I want to study? Remember that because this is the first person singular, even though you drop the first letter here and only here, you need to add a e or I sound.
بدي أتعلم. بدي أتعلم. بتعلم. بتعلم.
Now, do you remember how to change the verb when you add I want in front of it?
تفضل.
Try it by asking, do you want to learn?
بدك تتعلم؟ بدك تتعلم؟
Last but not least, say the same for a girl or woman.
بدك تتعلمي بدك تتعلمي بدك تتعلمي.
Time to spice up the exercise a little. The word for the English language is
إنجليزي.
try saying I want to learn English.
بدي أتعلم إنجليزي بدي أتعلم إنجليزي.
Now say I don't want to learn English. I want to work as a manager. To work as, followed by the profession, translates as
اشتغل.
followed by the profession. So, if we know that
أنا بشتغل مدير
means I work as a manager, how would the entire phrase sound? I don't want to learn English. I want to work as a manager.
ما بدي أتعلم إنجليزي بدي أشتغل مدير. ما بدي أتعلم إنجليزي بدي أشتغل مدير. ما بدي أتعلم إنجليزي بدي أشتغل مدير.
In conclusion to today's lesson, let's work on a dialogue between two people, Jamil and Bahia. We just got acquainted. You'll notice there are a few new words in this conversation, but we'll make sure to properly introduce them to you.
مرحبا.
مرحبتين.
انت بهية ما هيك؟
أيوة، ليش؟
مشي، بس سؤال. شو بتعملي بحياتك؟ بتتعلمي أو بتشتغلي؟
أنا بشتغل.
وين بتشتغلي؟
بأوتيل فينيسيا كل يوم.
وين؟ بمطعم فينيسيا؟
لا، ما في مطعم هونيك. بأوتيل فينيسيا. بس بدي اشتغل بمطعم اسمه فلامنكي. وانت شو بتعمل؟
أنا بتعلم بالجامعة. طب.
أيوة يا دكتور، أنا ما بعرف شي عن الطب، كتير صعب. انت بتحب الطب؟
أكيد.
طيب، بس شو بدك بالضبط مني؟
مشي بالإذن يا حلوة.
Jamil starts the conversation with
مرحبا. مرحبا.
Bahia answers this with 2 hellos.
مرحبتين. مرحبتين.
Since he met her only once, Jamil wants to double check her name, so he asks, You're Bahia, right?
انت بهية ما هيك؟ انت بهية ما هيك؟
She nods and says yes, or indeed.
ايه إيه.
She's a bit impatient though, and not in a mood to tolerate any flirting or compliments today. So she adds to this an abrupt why, meaning, why do you want to know? The word for why is
ليش؟ ليش؟
To this, Jamil calmly answers, nothing, just asking. Literally, he's saying, nothing, just a question.
أعطيني الجملة بالعربي.
And here is the word for question.
سؤال. مشي بس سؤال. مشي بس سؤال.
To this he adds, literally, what do you do in your life? Which is simply a way to ask somebody what they are doing right now in terms of studies or work. The word for life is
حياة.
Try saying it.
شو بتعملي بالحياة؟
To this he adds, do you work or do you study?
يلا.
Give the phrase in Arabic a try.
شو بتعملي بحياتك؟ تتعلمي أو بتشتغلي؟ شو بتعملي بحياتك؟ تتعلمي أو بتشتغلي؟ شو بتعملي بحياتك؟ تتعلمي أو بتشتغلي؟
Are you still there? Take a deep breath. You'll be glad to hear the next phrase is much simpler, as Bahia simply answers, I work.
أنا بشتغل. أنا بشتغل.
Jamil is eager to find out more and asks her where she works. Do you remember the word for where? It's
وين؟
تفضل.
ask her.
وين بتشتغلي؟ وين بتشتغلي؟
To this she answers that she works every day at the Fenice Hotel. Every day is
كل يوم. كل يوم. بأوتيل فينيسيا كل يوم. بأوتيل فينيسيا كل يوم.
Jamil did not hear her very well, so he asks, where? At restaurant Phoenicia? The word for restaurant is
مطعم. وين؟ بمطعم فينيسيا؟ وين؟ بمطعم فينيسيا؟
She answers that there is no restaurant there. Do you remember the word for there?
هونيك. لا ما في مطعم هونيك. لا ما في مطعم هونيك.
To this, Bahia adds she would like to work in a restaurant called Falamanki, a famous Beiruti restaurant serving Lebanese cuisine. Here is how she says it. But I want to work at the restaurant called Falamanki. It's called, for masculine,
اسمه. بس بدي اشتغل بمطعم اسمه الفلامنكي. بس بدي اشتغل بمطعم اسمه الفلامنكي.
She then adds, and you, what do you do? Meaning, what do you do for a living?
وانت شو بتعمل؟ وانت شو بتعمل؟
Jamil answers he studies in university. He specified that he studies medicine. The Arabic word for medicine is
طب. أنا بتعلم بالجامعة طب. أنا بتعلم بالجامعة طب.
Bahia smiles and replies, well, doctor. I don't know anything about medicine. Do you like medicine? A little bit too long? Fine. let's chop this phrase up a bit. We give you the first bit.
أيوة دكتور.
Well, well, doctor. Next up, I don't know anything about medicine.
أنا ما بعرف شي عن الطب. أنا ما بعرف شي عن الطب.
Bahia then asks Jamil, do you like medicine? Knowing that I like or I love is
بحب.
how would you say you like masculine?
أنت بتحب الطب؟ أنت بتحب الطب؟
He replies by saying, of course.
أكيد أكيد.
Bahia is still a little suspicious about Jamil's intentions, and therefore pushes him away a bit by saying, okay, but what exactly do you want from me?
طيب بس شو بدك بالضبط مني؟ طيب بس شو بدك بالضبط مني؟
Jamil says, nothing. Excuse me, dear. Or literally, nothing. With your permission, my beauty.
مشي بالإذن يا حلوة.
هلأ اسمع الحوار.
And sit back and relax.
مرحبا.
مرحبتين.
انت بهية ما هيك؟
أيوة. ليش؟
مشي بس سؤال. شو بتعملي بحياتك؟ بتشتغلي أو بتتعلمي؟
أنا بشتغل.
وين بتشتغلي؟
بأوتيل فينيسيا كل يوم.
وين؟ بمطعم فينيسيا؟
لا ما في مطعم هونيك. بأوتيل فينيسيا بس بدي اشتغل بمطعم اسمه الفلامنكي. وانت شو بتعمل؟
أنا بتعلم بالجامعة. طب.
أيوة يا دكتور. أنا ما بعرف شي عن الطب. كتير صعب. انت بتحب الطب؟
أكيد.
طيب بس شو بدك بالضبط مني؟
مشي بالإذن يا حلوة.
برافو عليك.
Well done.
برافو عليك.
Congratulations on finishing level 1, lesson 4. See you tomorrow for lesson 5.